Hi everyone, this is going to be a really quick video. A question came up on one of my videos about how to process a comet. Now, there's plenty of videos out there that talk about various aspects of this. I'm just going to quickly run through my process. So I start off with Deep Sky Stacker. Actually, before that, I start off by taking some images of a comet. Now, in my case, I used a DSLR, I used an Nikon to take images, and I used those more for a wide field time lapse. But the ones that I was actually stacking, I used my astrophotography camera, so the ASI 294MC Pro, and I had that running on an equatorial wedge so that I could take a much more up-close view of the comet. The ASI 294MC Pro was running with a Rokinon 135mm lens. So, for the purpose of this example, I start off with Deep Sky Stacker. So Deep Sky Stacker, standard stacking software. It's open source, it's free, it's what most people use. Within Deep Sky Stacker, you have the ability to drag in your light frames, meaning the frames of the images that you've taken. So here, see, I didn't change the name in APT when I was doing my capture, so it still says Vega. Oops. I have 4 images that are definitely not Vega. These are Comet C2023A3 Tsuchinshan-ATLAS. So I'm going to take just these 4 samples and I'm going to pull them in here as light frames. I'm going to select light. I'm going to take my darks. Now hopefully you guys took darks. If you didn't, hopefully you have a library of them. I'm going to take one of my library darks. And I did not take flats, and I'm going to have to go back and do them. So I'm going to have to get my camera out in similar light conditions tomorrow evening and do some sky flats in order to calibrate some of the glow I've got happening in the center. So here we've got 4 light frames. Here we've got the master dark. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to check all by clicking this button. And then I'm going to click on Register Checked Pictures. I'm using 10%. That usually works okay for closer up views. Let this quickly analyze. So this is registering the stars that DSS sees in each image so that it can align each image based on its star profiles, or the stars that it's mapped. So usually I like to order by score and take the best image as the reference frame. I'm going to right click and select that image as a reference, and then I'm going to click on the compute offsets button here on the left to compute the offsets between that reference frame and the other 4 images, or the other 3 images. That's pretty much it. So from here I'm going to go ahead and stack. Now because this is a comet, I'm going to stack twice. The first time I'm going to stack to align on the comet, and the second time I'm going to stack to align on the stars. I'm going to combine those 2 images so I get the comet from the comet stack. I'm going to extract the stars from the star stack, overlay them together using the same master frame so that the orientation of the images is exactly identical, and out will come an image that will have combined stars and stacked comet. Now here's a catch. Depending on the image of your comet, Deep Sky Stacker may not be aware that this is a comet. So we're going to click here on the Edit Comet mode, and I'm going to hover over, and as I do, I notice that DSS, Deep Sky Stacker, is trying to get me to pick anything other than the comet to be the comet. So that's not nice. I'm going to hold down the Shift key, which allows me to manually center. And up there, you can't see it, I'm going to use the cursor. See, up here in the top left-hand corner, I have a magnified view of what I'm pointing at. I'm going to get as close as I possibly can to the center of that comet. See, I usually I slow down my mouse to do this because it's going kind of all over the place. Okay, that's close enough. See, right there, it made that little purple circle. That means that is our comet. I'm going to do the same thing to the other frames. So holding down the Shift key, here we go. Is this tedious? Yes. Do you have to do it for every frame? Yes. Did I do it for all 100 odd frames that I did of this comet? Yes, it took a while. Alright, here we go. Almost almost out. Really hard to align this at this mouse speed. Got one more to go here. Perfect. So all four are now selected. I've got the Comet selected in each of the four images. So I'm going to go to stack checked pictures right here. I'm going to go to my stacking parameters. Now the stacking parameters I use standard mode. For Comet, I'm going to pick Comet stacking first, so this is going to align on the Comet, and it's going to let the stars trail. And I'm going to press OK. Sorry, my voice has been going on and off for a little while. Here we go. Add 4 frames. That should be pretty quick. So here we see the files that were generated by the analysis. And in a moment we should see, here we go, autosave. This is the 4 frames that we just stacked around the Comet. Perfect. Now, without changing anything, I'm going to go back to Register and Stacking. I'm going to click on Stack Check Pictures again. And this time I'm going to check the stacking parameters, and I'm going to change from Comet stacking to standard. Why am I not choosing stars plus Comet? Because as others have indicated, and I've seen myself, if you do that, you're going to get these very faint trails of the stars in the combined image, and it just doesn't look very good. Alright, so standard stacking, press OK, OK again, off it goes. And that should be it for Deep Sky Stacker. Now I like to label which file is which. This is just a sample, so I'm going to say sample 1, and this is Comet stack, and this is the second file that was just generated, sample 2, star stack. Okay, here I can close out of Deep Sky Stacker. I don't want to change or save my changes. I just need these 2 files. Now, next tool I use is a tool called Siril. Siril is another open source freeware program, or free program rather. This one does all sorts of image manipulation, stacking, stretching, uses scripts. It's really fantastic. I've barely scratched the surface on it. I use it mostly for extracting backgrounds, getting rid of green noise, which are introduced by my camera, and also doing star alignment and star removal. So this is Siril. It's open. I'm going to go back and I'm going to bring in one of these files. And before I do that, let me change the file location so I can pick my default location to my sample folder. That way Siril just goes directly to that folder whenever I save anything. So let's take the Comet stack. We'll bring it into Siril. Here it is. Here's our stacked Comet. And what we're going to do here is we're going to, I'm going to play with the curves a little bit. So I'm going to extract the background, generate a background mask. Let's just right-click to get rid of some of these spots. So let me just quickly walk through this. Background extraction evens out gradients and other artifacts in your background. It kind of normalizes the background. You run it by clicking Image Processing, selecting Background Extraction, and then clicking on Generate to generate this grid. Now the grid is what Siril considers the background. If something is not background, like a nebula or a comet, then you simply unclick those grid points. Once you're done, click on Compute Background, and you have a flat background. Press Apply and move on. Image Processing, again, this time we're going to go to Remove Green Noise. That's just an Apply. And now our comet is no longer green, which it was not to begin with. Okay, oops, I already pressed Apply twice. Now I'm just going to do a quick stretch here. This is going to be, I'm going to select the comet, I'm going to click Image Processing, Generalize Hyperbolic Stretch. I'm going to select, so I drew a box here around where the comet's tail is. I'm going to select the little eyedropper tool to select that box as the point that I'm going to be stretching around. And then I'm going to drag this forward. Too much. You know what? That's good enough. I'm going to press apply. And let's take down some of the background. So stretch that to the left. Here we go. And press apply. Perfect. Okay, so I've got a somewhat okay comet. So this image of the comet, this is the one where we're going to remove the stars. So for sake of the demo, I'm going to save this version. So this is the comet stack. I'm going to call this Siril 1. Save. And here I'm going to remove the stars. We do that by going to image processing and then star processing. And I should mention, sorry, if you have Siril, you may not have this add-on. So you need to download and install the StarNet add-on for Siril in order to be able to use the StarNet star removal. So I'm going to click on StarNet star removal. I don't want to save a separate mask. I'm just going to click on execute. So this is going to run through now, and it's going to remove all of these stars in this image. Alright, it's done. Stars are removed. I'm going to save this version as well. So let's name this one Siril 1. No stars. That's all we need from this image. What we need to do next is grab the second image where we're going to stack the stars from. So this is the star stack. And in the star stack, we're going to do something similar. We're going to do a background extraction, compute background, and we're going to do a green noise removal. Remove green noise. There we go. And now we're going to bring out the stars so that we can see them better. So I'm going to click. This is from Nico Carver's video, I believe, from Nebula Photos. This is where I found out about Siril in the first place. So pick a dark background or a patch of dark background. Click on Generalize Hyperbolic Stretch. Pick that spot. Max out local stretch intensity. And move your stretch factor until you see until the star profiles or the star shapes, until you see the stars that you want to see, basically. Alright, so I want to see some more stars. I'm going to pull this a little further. That's a lot of stars. Maybe take it down a bit because the comet is now, I think, masking some of the stars. Okay. Apply, close, and here I'm going to play with the color saturation to bring up the color saturation of the stars. And let's now make another star mask. So I'm going to save this as stack 2, Siril 1. There's a point to me saving the before and after versions of both of these, and I'll show you those in a second. Alright, now same thing, we'll do StarNet star removal. So we'll head down to star processing and StarNet star removal. Uncheck generate star mask, press execute. If you leave the generate star mask option, it'll generate a second file which is a mask for the stars if you wanted to remove them later by yourself. I don't want to do that. And we're done. So let's save this. So this is the image of the stacked stars with the stars removed. Now, I only picked 4 images, 4 frames that were 30 seconds each, so that's a total of 2 minutes worth of capture. That's not long enough to see any substantial trailing in stars yet, but enough for a little bit. If, like me, you've got dozens or potentially over 100 frames that you need to stack, then you would definitely see the trailing of the stars and or the comet. So that's what we're trying to avoid here. Now that we've got the images saved, we can exit out of Siril. And next we can bring up GIMP. So I use GIMP as an open source, free to use alternative to Photoshop or PixInsight. Feel free to use whichever tool you want to use. My workflow calls for this. So in GIMP, I'm going to click on File, Open as Layers, and I'm going to pick the 4 files that we had just generated out of Siril. So we have the Comet stack with and without stars, and the star stack with and without stars. That's all we need here. Click on Open. Great. Okay, let's make this bigger so we can see what we're working with. Zoom to fit image in window. Now, here's the reason why I took the versions with stars and without stars for both the Comet stack and the star stack. It was literally to show this. This is the star stack with stars, and this is the Comet stack with stars. The stars are exactly in the same positions. This is because we used the same reference frame to stack both sets of images in Deep Sky Stacker. That is why that was important. If you miss that step, it's not the end of the world, but you're going to have to manually align your image. I have made a couple of videos about doing that. You can have a look at those if you like. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take the star stack and we're going to create just a mask layer. So I'm going to take the no stars version and I'm going to subtract it from the stars version. Here's the subtraction. Here's my stars. Now I didn't pick the best frames here. I've got all sorts of artifacts. These look like either satellite trails or meteors. That's okay. I'm just doing this as a demo. So I'm going to create a new from visible here. So new layer from visible, and I'm going to call this stars. And now we're going to do the same thing with the comet. So here's the comet. Actually, we don't have to do that with the comet because we don't need stars in the comet. Brilliant. Okay, so now we have the comet without stars. We have stars, and all we need to do is add the stars layer to the comet layer. There's the comet, there's the stars. I'm going to enable the view. Now that we've clicked add, there's our comet with stars. The stars are much brighter than they would have been otherwise. They're color saturated. They're not stretched in relation to the comet, and the comet is not stretched in relation to the stars, which is exactly what we're looking for. So we can go ahead and play with this, manipulate it further. I'm going to knock down the background here to darken it a little bit. There we go, that's a bit better. And that's a semi-okay picture of 4 stacked frames. It's not too bad. So from here you can take this image, you can play with it, you can further process it in whichever tool you're comfortable with. Again, for me that's GIMP, so my workflow process would be to process it in GIMP. Here is the latest version that I was working with, so let me open that up. That was the sample, and here's the latest. See, these are all my previously stacked images, or original captures rather. Processing, and here we go. So this is the latest version that I was working with. I can see the core of the comet. It's visible here. I've got this glow in the center because I didn't take proper flats, so I got to redo my calibration frames there. And then there's some noise around the edges where the frames didn't exactly overlap. But in general, I'm pretty happy with this image of what I was able to get. And this represents about a half-hour worth of stacked data with a Rokinon 135mm lens and an ASI 294 MC Pro camera. Excuse me. So from here you can do whatever you want to further process, make funny pictures, impress your friends and family, and enjoy your captured comet. Thanks for watching, and clear skies.